scanning corner. It's in my son's playroom where I still have my Christmas advent calendar hung up. But this is the Fuji Frontier SP-3000, which is what, if you are already familiar with scanning film, most professional film labs are going to be scanning your film on this machine. So I have it in my house. I'll just give you some insider information that this machine has been one of the best business decisions I've ever made, because I went from spending about $1,500 per wedding on film and scanning to about $300 to $400. So over the past 5-6 years, I have saved so much money. I'm not even gonna guess at a number. Yes, I am. Like 40 grand. I've saved so much money on having this machine. So if you're able to get one and don't mind that it looks like an alien living in your house, it's definitely worth having. So I'm going to show you how I scan my rolls of film once they come back from the lab, because I don't develop them myself. I do send them off to my friends at Boutique Film Lab, and they do all the developing for me and send them back as a full strip of film like this, and then I'm going to take it through the machine and scan each photo into a digital file. So with the Frontier, you're going frame by frame and you're color correcting and you're scanning, so there's nothing automatic about this process. It's all manual, and you're doing each frame as you go. So here's how we start. We gotta get this pulled up, and it moves slow because it was made in the 80s. Ba, 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 ba. This is my cool dust rag. Da, 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 da. This is the frustrating part of scanning, is that sometimes it does just take a while. And
so where do you go about finding a scanner? Like,
oh yes. So I got this one from a company called PTS. They sell this machine and Noritsu's and some other big photo equipment, but PTS is where I got it from. They have great customer service and customer support, so I definitely recommend doing that as opposed to getting one on eBay when it might come to you just a complete mess. So definitely recommend them. Alright, so we're going to start the job here. First thing is you have to take the little plastic sheath off of the roll of film. You want to try to keep as much dust off of it as possible, so sometimes I'll kind of run my static dust thing over the roll. And then when you're looking at it, so at the very top it's going to say what the type of film is. It says Kodak Portra 400, and when you're scanning it, you want that to be facing up at you. So you want to see Kodak Portra 400 facing you, so you know everything is facing the right direction. Grab this little tab here, and this pulls out the film carrier. Alright, so this is the insert. This is going to be holding the film in place as you're scanning each frame. This is a 6x4.5, so it's made for 6.45 cameras. Lift this up. This is where you kind of lock in your film strip here. Close that, and you're going to slide it back in here. This is my homegrown scanning lab, so I put this here to protect it from the plastic. And I think some people shoot upside down from me, but my rolls go left to right, so I try to make sure I'm scanning them in order. So I push it all the way this way, so I'm starting with the very first frame. Hitting OK locks it into the film carrier. So then what the Frontier does is it pulls up a guess of what it thinks you were trying to do when you shot the photo. So it's pulling up like it kind of tries to color correct for you. And then I can come in here, and these are the adjustments I have. It's cyan, magenta, yellow, and then this is density. So you have 4 things that you're able to mess with as far as color profiles. So I'll just show you. If you go down, you're making your frame really red. So cyan is red and cyan. If you go up, you're making it more cyan, which is more blue, green, like that. And so that's one of your adjustments. A lot of times I will go maybe one click towards red. And then because this one, there was some tungsten light, there's some mixed light in this frame, I'm gonna have to even it out with some green. So the magenta, if you go down, it's green. If you go up, it's magenta. The yellow, if you go down, it's blue. If you go up, it's yellow. So those are your 3 color settings to mess with. And so a lot of times I'll keep adjusting back and forth to even out all the colors as I go. So I just added a little bit of red, 5 ticks of green, and 4 ticks of blue. And then I feel pretty good about the colors in this photo. I feel like it's pretty well balanced. And then the final setting here is the density. So I can either make it, this is the crazy part to me about film, is that like you can make it into like 5 different pictures depending on how you scan it. So I can make it really, really dense and dark, or I can brighten it and make it super washed out in the background and more light and airy on his face. So I tend to settle about in the middle. I don't like to go too light and airy or too dark and moody, and I say just try to keep it really classic. So this is probably how I would scan this frame. If you think that you have more frames coming in the same lighting, you can hit the hold button on your keyboard and it'll lock in all those settings. The other thing that you can mess with is this button tone adjust. And this is where you've probably heard or seen in different presets, all soft, all hard, shadow soft, shadow hard, highlight soft, highlight hard. So I literally scan almost everything on all soft because it's giving you the best of both worlds. It's preserving the shadows and it's preserving the highlights. And so I leave it there. If you do want to mess around with other settings, like all hard is going to give you even more contrast. Shadow soft is going to pull up the shadows but keep the highlights really hard. Shadow hard is going to darken those shadows. Highlight soft is going to keep those highlights, preserve as much of the highlights as you can, which I would always recommend trying to preserve the highlights. And then highlight hard, where you see it just totally whitewashed out there. So I keep it on all soft and I have it held there, so as I go through the whole roll, it's going to stay all soft for each frame that I come to unless I go in and manually change it. And then I hit the start button and then I let the scanner do its job. So you can see it is kind of a tedious process. It might take me about 8 hours to scan one wedding where I do like 30 to 40 rolls of film. All right, and then you manually push the roll of film onto the next frame. You get it all lined up, hit OK, and then you're starting all over with your color correcting. So this is my son Hudson in Utah. It's pulling up a pretty nice color profile here, but I like it a little bit warmer. So I'm going towards the red. I'll probably add a little green to balance out because now I feel like it added too much red to his face. So I'm always watching the skin tones to try to keep that as accurate as possible. Like you don't want his face to look green or blue or have any weird colors in it. So that's kind of what I try to balance. And then you're keeping the nice golden light of the desert. So that one was kind of a simple one. I just did a couple ticks towards the red and 1 tick towards the green, and I brightened it one little thing, 1 tick. All right, and then it's scanning, and so it scans each frame and it's saving them right here on my hard drive, which I then take to my computer and do a little bit more editing, combine it with any digital that I might have shot, and then export it to a gallery for my clients. So that's the scanning process. I hope it gave you a little bit more insight into what happens in a film lab when you're sending off your film, and it's why it's so important that you have a relationship with your lab, because it is so personal. Like each person scanning your film is going to do it a little bit differently unless they know what you really like. All right, so I'll do one more and then I'll say bye. So this is about the same thing. I did a little towards red, 1 towards green, and I'm pretty happy with that shot because I feel like he's nice and rosy and a little golden. And I'm going to push hold and start. So there you go. That's how you scan on the Frontier SP-3000.